My name's Brenda Brathwaithe, and I'm a game designer. I can't say who I'm a game designer with yet, but I'm going to a major company in California coming up at the end of the week. I'm here in Montreal to talk about a game series I made that's pretty unconventional. It's all non-digital, and I've been a digital game designer for a long time, and I made this series of games to see if games could express and capture difficult emotions like paint or like film could. Well, yeah, so I played these 3 first-person shooters in a row, and it felt like I was playing the same game. I mean, they were all by different companies, and I don't know why, but I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to sign off digital games for a while, and that was sort of the impetus of it. And so I didn't play any digital games for about 9 months, maybe. It was 6 to 9 months. And during that time, I've always paper prototyped things. And so the idea of making non-digital games, just for a change. I mean, I was, teaching at the Savannah College of Art and Design at the time, so I didn't have to worry about pleasing a publisher or a producer or hitting any kind of schedule that had to do with the game at that point. So I was really free to explore a lot of different things. Well, so it wasn't that I deliberately set out to create these games, interestingly enough. I had my daughter, she came home from school and was talking about, I asked her what they learned about that day. And so her answer was the Middle Passage, and I wasn't expecting that. That's a pretty heavy topic to be talking about. And her father is half black and half Irish. So it's actually relevant. Well, it's relevant to all of our histories, but it's particularly relevant to her ancestry as well. So I asked her how she felt about it, and her response was, well, and she had learned all the, what I call bingo buzzwords in school, that the English had come down and taken the slaves across the ocean where they were sold to the Americans, and they worked really hard for a number of years, and Abraham Lincoln was elected president, and then there was the Emancipation Proclamation, and they're all free now, and is it okay if she plays a game? And I thought, really, that's it? I mean, she made it sound like some black people took an angry cruise, and then everybody was happy now. And I was so really, it was Black History Month, and I really felt surprised. I didn't expect her to cry or anything, but I expected a little more attachment. So when she asked at the end, can I play a game? I just sort of spontaneously grabbed some prototype parts and said yes, and made a game. And I asked her to make me some families out of these little tokens. I asked her to make me some families, and when she was done with that, I just grabbed a bunch at random and put them on a boat. And she started trying to put the kids with the parents, because she had colored them all differently. We had the blue family and the pink family. So she starts trying to put the parents with the kids and the kids with the parents, and I said, honey, they can't go. And so she said, but they want to. And I said, honey, no, this is the Middle Passage. People don't want to go on the Middle Passage. So it becomes obvious to her about halfway through that we're not going to make the trip. And now she's faced with a difficult decision. Do we try to continue the trip, hoping that people survive, or do we throw some people overboard? And so she was really, she was 7 at the time. When I said that to her, you could see that she was like, oh my goodness. And she got what the game was about. And then she asked me, now mind you, this is after a month of school, Mommy, did that really happen? And I was blown away, and I said, yes. And she said, so I could come out of the woods, and Donovan and Avalon, that's her brother and sister, would be gone. Yes. You could be gone. Yes. Daddy could be gone. Yes. And so when her father came home, not expecting to walk in the door to the Middle Passage, of course, right? But when her father came home, now she's asking him, how did he feel about losing part of his family? How did he feel about the people that he never would see again? Did they get to see each other again? She was asking all these incredibly relevant questions because of a game. And I immediately decided, oh my goodness, I'm doing this again. And so I did. I made it about my family's history, which is Irish Catholic. And so I made a game about the Cromwellian invasion of Ireland. And then from there, I'm making 4 more, 3 of which are done. Yeah. So everybody who's played the game has had, all the games, has had an incredibly positive response. I mean, there have been the knee-jerk responses, how could you make a game about the Middle Passage? Well, how could you make a movie about the Middle Passage, a book about the Middle Passage? I don't treat the topics with any disrespect. I mean, these are not happy, fun games, but I believe that games have the same expressive potential as any other form of media. And so I became fascinated with using game mechanics and rule sets, which is the same thing, to capture and express that emotion. In Train, which is the game that's probably received the most notoriety, I guess, that one draws equal, how could you possibly make a game about the Holocaust, to, my goodness, you captured it, so it's loved and hated. I think loved in more amounts. Nobody who's actually played the game has ever said anything bad about it.
And how this experience, because it's a kind of a your heart thing, you know?
Yeah.
So how does this experience help you in designing video games, you know?
Well, it's helped me in a lot of ways. I mean, I think the single biggest one, speaking purely as a designer, is that we talk a lot about making meaningful choices in the game, that leaving players in a position where they are making a choice that they know matters going forward. Because if you are presented with a choice as a player and you know it doesn't mean anything, you don't care and you're not into the game at all. And what this series got me thinking about, because I was the only, you're looking at the development team, right? What it got me thinking about was, what about meaningful design decisions? Like every decision that I made, if I had to make a decision about anything, whether it was the size of the tokens, the colors of the board, the size, the space that it's going to occupy. Like the one game I'm working on now about the Trail of Tears is going to be fairly gigantic, and I'm not really sure where it will go when it's done. And I don't care, you know, I'm okay with that. But it's a deliberate decision. I want it to occupy space. And so every single decision that I'm making, I think about, like, why am I making this decision? What is this decision about? Does it add in some way to the overall narrative of the game, the semiotics of the game, the tactile elements of the game? What is it exactly adding? And I obsess over these. Now granted, because I don't have a release date, I don't have a publisher, and I'm just making one of these, I can take all the time in the world that I want. If I finish these games before I die, then I've succeeded, right? And if not, I haven't failed either, you know? So